Back at it with another edition of the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast with you as always, Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell writes for the Kansas City Star, columnist for the Kansas City Star. My name is Soren Petro. Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. We're making our predictions. Every year, we're willing to put our name next to who will win every division, who will be the wild card teams in both conferences, who will be in the Super Bowl, who will win it, who's going to be the worst team, the MVP. We're picking the awards as well, plus bold and daring predictions for the NFL. We're doing it right here, right now on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. Off and running here with the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast. Guys, we're making predictions. We do it every year. We've never missed. That's what's amazing. You can put it down. Really, we kind of make the NFL season boring because we're going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. And we are, 98.9%? Sam, you missed on one last year. Is that right? That's all we missed?
Yeah, just on Sirianni. I think I got everything else correct. Yeah.
Let's start with the AFC East. Something tells me we're not going to have to spend a whole lot of time on the at least the top part of the AFC. Jeff will give you the honors. What do you think? Who wins the AFC East this year?
This is like picking the AFC West. It's Bills until someone proves otherwise. I think they're just too dominant. They've won it, 6 straight now? I can't remember what it is, but they're the best team by far.
Yeah. The Buffalo Bills, do they even have a challenger? I mean, does anybody even get close to them? No?
No.
All right. That's safe to say you don't have anyone else from the AFC East making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the Bills might win 15 games with their schedule.
Okay. Sam, I take it you're on the Bills as well. There's not a lot of drama here.
Yep, biggest favorite by a wide margin to win their division this year.
Yeah, I've got the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah, I mean, who else would be close? I mean, I know we don't get into the specific odds all that often, but the Bills are minus 270, and nobody else in football is more than minus 150. I mean, it is a wide margin to where they're considered the easiest path to a division championship.
Yeah. I mean, there is you said it's like the AFC West in the sense that, hey, these two teams just keep winning it. I agree, but the paths of the two teams that have been winning are quite different.
Yeah.
At this point, the way things are working. I've got the Buffalo Bills as well, and I don't know. I mean, I like Mike Vrabel as a coach. I'm not quite ready to put the New England Patriots in there. It won't shock me if they do make it. I think that's maybe the only team. The Dolphins just seem like a ship that's already taken on water right now.
Yeah.
Fighting and everything. You would have thought that maybe a while ago. The Jets aren't ready. I mean, I think even if they get 7 games from Josh Allen, they probably still win.
It's a lot of national love for the Patriots for some reason. I've been on a few radio talk shows and people keep bringing up the Patriots. I'm like, am I missing something here? Commanders were a great story, but I can't think this is going to happen twice.
What order are we going in here, Stren? Are we picking the division winners, and then we'll do the three
The
wild
wild
card
cards.
teams?
That's what I was planning on. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're Mike Vrabel is what they're and a quarterback that looked pretty good at the end. I think that's what people are talking about, but they're not ready to challenge the Bills. Jeff, Sam, anybody? Have we all got Ravens?
Yeah.
Is there this one? You could pick the Bengals because of the high-powered offense. You could pick the Steelers. They now have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and we're a playoff caliber team. We know Sam has a burning hatred for the Pittsburgh Steelers
and
I
the
think it's Aaron
quarterback.
Rodgers. I think it's
Aaron Rodgers threw
quarterback.
28 touctouchdowns. Like you don't think
unbelievable last year, right?
That's not a stat Sam looks at.
It's not. I mean, we've had this discussion before. Aaron Rodgers was terrible last year, and like in pretty much every metric was a really bad quarterback last year, and was the reason that the Jets sucked. They had many other reasons, but he was one of the reasons that they sucked.
Okay.
He's not going to make the Steelers any better than they were last year.
All right. I don't have the Steelers in the playoffs, but I'm a Mike Tomlin fan, so he seems to shock everybody and do more than they think. All right, the Ravens. Let's see. Any drama in the AFC South, Jeff?
Still chalk here. Sticking with the Texans. They might be the best division champion going, but they're the best in a really weak division. Might be the weakest division in football if the NFC South can actually get a little bit better. But there's nothing about the Colts, the Jaguars, or the Titans that inspired me. I think the Texans are going to win probably 11 games.
Okay, so
they're far worse than the NFC South.
I'm just betting on maybe Bryce Young and Michael Penix, all these unknowns.
No, I'm saying the NFC South is significantly better than this.
Oh, okay, so it's better. Okay.
Yes. I mean, this division is terrible.
Horrible.
Like I wanted every reason in the world to not pick the Texans because I don't like what they did this offseason at all. But by default, I think you have to pick the Texans. Who else is there?
No?
Sure. Go ahead. Last year you picked the Jaguars, so yes, I would love to know who you're picking this year.
Going back to the well.
Wow.
Jaguars. At some point, it's got to be right.
I'm going back to the Jaguars. I'm trying to look at what Jacksonville's win total is here. Hang on. Let's see.
What
they
are. To be?
They're plus 300 in the division, but yeah, go ahead and look up the win total as well. I mean, I'll applaud you for not going chalk.
Well, that's here's my look,
because you'll see some picks in my NFC and AFC picks that are very intentional for that same reason. Just trying not to just pick last year's champions.
Right. 8 is 7.5. If you bet over 7.5, it's minus 115. So the betting public is saying they're kind of an 8 and 9 team. 8.5.
115's even on the over-unders usually.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, because I'm looking at it where you can bet every single game. So you can bet them at 7.5, you can bet them at 8.5. At 8.5, they go to plus 145. So you're getting return on that. You know, they're betting them under 8.5, but there's a slight lean to the over on 7.5. It's minus 115 over and minus 105 under on 7.5. So, you know, around 8 wins is where they're saying. I don't love the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they have a competent quarterback, right? They've got a new coach. Everybody is on their best behavior year one of a new coach that's respected, although he seems kind of flaky. I tried to pick the Colts. I tried to say, okay, there's some pieces there to like, but I just, when was the last time that all 4 division winners, you know, were the same in back-to-back years?
I don't know. I will point out that you hated Trevor Lawrence went through the quarterback rankings. I mean, you hated him.
I called him competent. I didn't call him.
I think you had it was like the 3rd worst quarterback in football. Now you got the Jaguars winning the division. I guess the Jaguars, to me, I think Trevor Lawrence is below average for sure, but their defense was atrocious.
Yeah, they were horrible.
Didn't
they have the same division champions in the AFC last year? As the year before?
I was waiting to see if anybody would get it, but yes, that is exactly what that. But so now then the next question is, when was the last time all 4 divisions had the same division winner 3 years in a row? I don't have the answer to that, but it cannot have been any time recently.
I would almost guess never.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought process as well. So, you know,
Are you predicting it, Jeff?
No, I'm not. I'm sticking with chalk. Now, the Jaguars, I will give Soren this. I will say they lost Trevor Lawrence, the last 5 games. And so that win total seemed high to me, but then I remembered, he was knocked out for, on IR and they had a few other injuries. They could luck into 8 wins. I could see that happening.
Well, and let me say this. Here's the other thing about that, though. I looked it up, and Brian Thomas, and that's one of the reasons I do like Brian Thomas a lot as a weapon. I think he's going to get better. But Brian Thomas's biggest games came when he was out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a problem, right? Like that's not a good sign overall. But I just feel like somebody's not going to now. And I'll tell you what it is. It's why this is. I'm going to tell you this is why like Colin Cowherd's. And a lot of people are picking the Chargers or Broncos to win the AFC West because they're looking at the same thing. They're people like us that do predictions every year and then go back and look at it. They're held accountable. And so they try to get this crap right. They study it. They're not just winging some, hot take crap on the wall. And I guarantee you everyone's looking at the same thing that we are. And they're not all 4 going to win it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And they're landing on the Chargers and Broncos, right? That's what's keeping them. But I'm with what Sam said. I hate the Texans had a bad offseason.
Yeah,
like,
they weren't that great a year ago. I kind of chuckled a little bit because all of a sudden you were making the argument against the Jaguars.
I know. I
don't
love
them.
Long enough. Yeah.
You're the only one who picked them. We didn't pick them.
I do not love them. I just didn't want to. I came through this the first time on everything. All my predictions were chalk. And I'm like, I can't. I
said, you'll see a couple unusual teams for me at some point during this exercise as well for the exact same reason. It's just, I don't even know if it's just like because it's the impracticability of it happening. It's also just super boring to pick the 7 playoff teams from last year on both conferences. So why not throw in a couple wild cards?
Yeah. Okay. All right. And we all have the Chiefs. Or Jeff, did you go somewhere else?
I have Chiefs. Yep.
Okay. Do we think it's a dogfight?
He doesn't even ask me. Jeff is the only possibility of somebody who might pick against the Chiefs.
Well, it's a dogfight, because I've got 2 other teams in that division making the playoffs. So I think it's going to be just as hard as it was last year. I think it's going to come down to the last weekend. I don't think they're going to have this thing wrapped up with 2 weeks to go.
Okay. Then your wild cards are Jeff, Broncos and Chargers. I'm assuming you're
Broncos, Chargers, Bengals.
Broncos, Chargers, Bengals. The lover of defense has the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, it's either that or go with the old folks home in Pittsburgh, right? They got like 6-7 guys over the age of 30 that they're relying on. That doesn't work out too well as far as keeping people healthy. So I'll stick with the Bengals, young guns on offense, getting it done versus that group.
Wasn't that a telling part of this exercise? Is that the AFC wildcards feel as weak as they have in a long time. 2 years ago, I think we would have had 10 teams to choose from for these 7 spots.
Yeah.
I felt like I had the 4 division winners, and I was like, then what?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of great teams in the AFC at the depths there.
I feel very comfortable that either the Broncos or Chargers are making the playoffs. By the way, I have the same 3 as Jeff. I have the Chargers, Broncos, and Bengals as my 3 wild cards. I feel very confident that one of the Chargers or Broncos will emerge. I'm not sure that both of them, that there's enough wins to beat up each other and still get there, except for what you're talking about, Sam. I do. I don't think it's I don't love the Bengals defense. I do think that there could very well be a chemistry issue with the organization screwing around with holdouts and everything that's going on there. But I just feel like they've got the quarterback. Why wouldn't you take the quarterback in this situation? So, all right. Do we get a wild card here? Or I shouldn't say wild card. Do we get a curveball here?
Yeah, I agree with you on the Bengals. I have the Bengals in, but I'm hesitant there because Joe Burrow had the year of his life last year, and they still didn't make the playoffs. Denver, I don't think that Denver and LA gets in. I thought that the Chargers last year benefited from an incredibly easy schedule, and now people are evaluating them based on that curve and just say they're just going to get better. I don't think they're going to have the number one scoring defense in the league again last year. I think Rashawn Slater being out for the year is a huge loss for what they want to do specifically. So that was the team I left out. I feel like I had to leave one team out. But then you do get to this problem of who else is in there. And Jeff mentioned this team already arguing against him without knowing I picked them. But I picked the Patriots as the seventh and last team in the AFC. And so you said, I don't know why anyone would pick them. They have by far, statistically, the easiest schedule in the AFC. By far the easiest schedule in the AFC.
Second easiest, right? The Bills would have the easiest because they
second.
No. I guess the three different games.
They play the last place teams as well. There's another team that we'll get to that's the easiest schedule in the NFL, and it's by a wide margin. This is by far the easiest schedule in the AFC. To me, I think Drake May also, is going to have a good year. But this is when you have a new coach, like this to me is setting up to be like a 2010 Chiefs season where the team, that Matt Castle team really wasn't that great, but they had the kiss of an easy schedule and they went 10-6 anyway. I could see the Patriots going 9-8 and that being good enough to make the playoffs because of how easy this schedule is.
Okay. I think it's a fair point. I mean, I like Mike Vrabel a lot as a coach. I think he's going to immediately make them a better team. I could totally, see Vrabel turn things around. And I think first-year coaches have everyone's attention right away, and so I think they have a built-in advantage from that standpoint. All right, we'll take a break. We'll get down to the NFC, right? I didn't skip anybody, right? We gave all our wild cards. Okay. Yeah. We'll do the NFC next, right after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warning. Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. All right, let's talk about the NFC. Jeff, NFC East, where are you going? Are the Eagles back, or do you have Washington over the taking them? What do you got?
Oh, like Eagles. They survived the scare with Landon Dickerson going down, but looks like he's just going to have some minor knee surgery and be back, if not the first week early in the season. So keeping that offensive line intact. They got the best offense as far as personnel in football, as far as I'm concerned. The weapons they have, that offensive line. I think Fangio will figure out the defense. I think they're right back in the mix. And I think the NFC East is going to be a lot more competitive, but I think that they are still a team that's probably going to win 13, 14 games.
Okay. All right. Eagles as well for you, Sam?
Yeah, I've got the Eagles. I wouldn't predict them in that 13 to 14 win range. I don't think I think they lost a lot from last year. But I think I have more questions about the Commanders than most people do too. Like their defense was never great a year ago. Right now they're fighting with their top weapon still. And so like I think more people should have questions about the Commanders than what I'm seeing. I think it's just a sexy thing to say, rookie quarterback, wow, they're going to be even better than they were a year ago. And I think people need to be reminded that like what Patrick Mahomes did was unusual, and it typically doesn't always go that smoothly.
Yeah. I'm in total agreement with you. I have the Eagles there as well, but I think they lost a lot more on defense than people are paying attention to.
Yeah.
If you listen to us talk about the coaches, what I think about Nick Sirianni, I think he's a ticking time bomb that is now been empowered with a new fat contract. I don't see where he's going to get any more agreeable with anybody. So I can see it blowing up with the Philadelphia. And then they also have a quarterback that they subject to a lot of hits, right? I'm a big fan of his. Obviously, you heard our quarterback rankings. You know that I'm a big fan of his.
He subjects himself to the hits, like not their offensive line. He holds onto the ball for a really long time. I think he held onto the ball longer than anyone in football last year.
And he runs.
He takes a lot of hits for that reason. Oh yeah. The tush push is what you're talking about. Absolutely,
and the tush
you're
push
right.
as well.
You're right about that. Yeah.
I think that part of the equation as well. I mean, I think they're susceptible to having him banged up, but I think you still go with the Eagles. I love what you said about the Commanders. Everybody's just making it too easy that Washington just immediately gets better. I mean, we saw C.J. Stroud. He didn't get better. Like, they took a step back. The league had a book on him, and I like Jaden Daniels. Maybe more than C.J. Stroud. I think I do. I think I like him better than C.J. Stroud, but I still think there's going to be a little bit of a sophomore slump here that he's got to deal with. So I'm with you. All right, NFC North, Jeff, you're obligated with your Michigan roots to take the Detroit Lions or no?
I'm picking the Lions. A lot of talk about their coordinator changes and what's going to happen without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, but I feel like Dan Campbell does a pretty good job picking assistant coaches. In fact, he lost, I think, 2 or 3 other guys, with those guys leaving. They took some coaches with them. But their talent is still outstanding. They're going to get Aiden Hutchinson back, a lot of defensive players who got hurt down the stretch. And I think Campbell's got a lot of magic going on. I think they're good enough talent-wise to be the best team in a really strong division.
Can I ask a question that I didn't even think about looking at this? I assumed that those two had been his coordinators the whole time he'd been the head coach. Do I not remember him changing one? So why
Ben Johnson didn't start that way? What's that?
No, go ahead. Ben Johnson wasn't the coordinator.
Deuce Staley was the offensive coordinator when he started that tenure, Dan Campbell, and then he fired Deuce Staley and gave Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was like a tight ends coach or something like that.
Okay, because I was wondering, is that right? Because I remember the Lions Hard Knocks. And it was Staley and Glenn that were always jawing at each other at practice. But I thought Staley was the okay.
Ben Johnson was the tight ends coach in 20 and 21, and then in 22 he took over as the OC.
Okay, shame on me. Yeah, because I don't have. You have the Lions? Sam?
I have the Lions. Yeah.
I do have the Lions. I toggled back and forth on this one, but settled on the Lions. I don't think their defense was as great as people thought it was last year, but they do get Aiden Hutchinson back. And I'm giving away one of my picks, but Aiden Hutchinson will appear later on my list at some point in this. Like, he is a really good player to get back.
Yeah. He's not the best player in that draft, as we know. That guy resides in Jacksonville. Or at least the Jaguars think he does, because they didn't take Aiden Hutchinson with the number 1 pick. The reason I bring that up is because I don't have the Lions, and I do feel a little worse on this because I had it in my head that both those coordinators have been with him, but that's a pretty good move. I mean, that's an eye for talent when he sees Ben Johnson. So I'm not quite as confident in this pick as I was before being enlightened about that fact, but I have the Green Bay Packers. I don't like the injury, to Jordan Love, but it's not on his throwing hand. But I think,
they got injuries galore already.
They do, but I just, this is more a pick against the Lions.
Yeah,
is in love with the Packers. I think somebody else is going to get him, and it might be the Vikings. I might not have given enough of credit to what's going on in Minnesota, but I'll take the Green Bay Packers more because I think the Lions back up a little bit, and the Packers get them. NFC South, Jeff, where are you going?
Dirty Birds, Falcons.
Okay, why?
Really?
They actually had this division wrapped up. If you go back and look at how last year played out until Kirk Cousins melted down, I mean, they were running away with this division at midseason, 10 games in, and then he just started throwing interceptions, and they fell apart. And so I feel like if Michael Penix can be anything close to what they think he can be, and that young defense, and those young pass rushers they brought in can be difference makers, there's no reason to think they can't get back there. I like Tampa and what they've done, and I got a lot of respect for them. But they beat Tampa twice easily. last year, and that's the
Not
best.
not easily.
Well-
Those games were flukes last year.
Well, they took care of business. Kirk Cousins had some pretty strong games against them.
One was in overtime. I mean, they didn't beat him easily.
Well, look at Kirk Cousins' numbers in those games. I guess I'm talking about the way he played in those games.
Okay,
and then
yeah,
where
I think
went from there.
Yeah, you're right. Didn't he throw for 500 yards or
Yeah.
something in one
Yeah.
of those
Look them
games?
up.
Yeah.
Look them up. And so Tampa's defense is still suspect, but and I think this division always a little bit comes down to the last week or two. But I trust the Falcons. I think they're going to get it done.
Okay, Sam.
I've got Tampa. I don't think this division will be close. I think this division is a 3+ game margin, and Tampa's resting their starters the last week of the season unless they're fighting for seeding.
I'm not convinced that Michael Penix is ready to step in and be the quarterback again from our quarterback episode. You know that I'm a fan of what Baker Mayfield does. I've got the Bucs too, and I think they've got even more weaponry now. I think they'll be healthier. I like the Bucs, and I like them to be pulling away before it's all said and done. NFC West, where are you going, Jeff?
Oh, the Rams. I think we're probably all in agreement about it. If we're not in agreement about this, something's wrong.
I'm not in agreement on this one.
Really? Okay. I'm going Rams. Rams are legitimate Super Bowl contenders, and there's no one else in that division you can say that about. As long as Matthew Stafford stays healthy.
That's kind of a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he's healthy right now. He's practicing. If he wasn't practicing, I wouldn't pick him.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
back.
Okay. Sam?
Jeff's gonna really hate my not only division but wild card picks, but I picked San Francisco because I mentioned that I teased this earlier. Easiest schedule in football by a long shot belongs to the San Francisco 49ers. And I don't think the 49ers are much better than they were last year, but with that schedule and, the data showed they were much better than their record a year ago. And I don't know what it is. And this probably shouldn't even be part of my spiel here, but for whatever reason, when Kyle Shanahan sucks, he's good the next year.
Yes.
And so I guess I'm giving him credit for that, even though I probably shouldn't. But mostly the schedule thing matters a lot. It matters who you play. And San Francisco doesn't play hardly anybody.
I'm with you. I was ready for the Rams.
What'd you say?
The receivers matter too. They don't have hardly any receivers right now.
If like Jeff, if the Rams had the 49ers schedule, I'd be picking the Rams here. The Rams have a pretty tough schedule, and the 49ers, like the chart does this straight line, and then the last two it just loops straight down for how easy the Patriots and how easy the 49ers schedule are this year. And I just think that stuff is difficult to ignore.
Yeah, I would agree, and I would still have taken the Rams if not for Stafford having back issues. Back issues don't get better.
Yeah,
you manage them, and I was kind of wondering why the Rams kind of shopped him around. I wonder if they knew this was coming, that this is part of the reason why they kind of let him look around, and then he settles back in, and I don't know. It was kind of odd. I think the Rams are a smart team. I think they're doing things different. Some of the things are going to be adopted by a lot of the teams out there, but the strength of schedule for the 49ers is a big one. I still think they have a lot of the key pieces there. Don't love it, but I've got the 49ers as well.
They finished last in the in the division, so that gets you the Giants and the Saints instead of the Rams finished first, right? So while they're playing,
they got the Eagles.
They'll be playing the Bucks, Lions, and Eagles while they're playing the Giants, Bears, and Saints. I mean, man, that's a difference.
Well, one of those is the play. So I just didn't know which one it was. Yeah.
But so they're both playing, I think, maybe the NFC South. So they'll play the Bears and Giants instead of playing the Eagles and Lions.
But
and then in the AFC,
then in the AFC,
they all play the South division,
right? But the 49ers get the last place South team, and the Rams got to play first place. So it's Texans. Yeah, it's Texans for Rams. If that's the right division.
I think they might play the. Let me look this up real quick. I think they might play the South. They play the entirety of the South.
Okay.
But it's the Browns.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's the Browns instead of Ravens.
Ravens.
So that difference in the Rams schedule turns out to be they play the
Eagles.
They play rather, so the Rams play the Eagles, Lions, and Ravens, and the 49ers play the Browns, Giants, and Bears. It's a big difference. It's really, to me, is if I'm picking the 49ers schedule, that's the difference between 3-0 and 0-3 as I'm picking game by game.
Sanders hater born right here.
All right, so now your wild cards, Jeff. Where do you go with your wild cards?
I've got Commanders, Vikings, and Bears. That same Bears team that Sam just dismissed. I believe in the Ben Johnson magic and the Caleb Williams revival.
Well, Sam's got the Bears. He was the biggest Bears guy out there, right?
He might have gotten burned with that last year. He may be off finally.
Is he licking his wounds, or does he go right back to the Bears?
Not that bold.
He's a big Ben Johnson guy, too. So, Sam, you got the Bears, right?
I've got Green Bay at 5. I've got Washington at 6. And then I flopped between actually the Rams and the team I ended up picking, which is, let's go with the Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
and they're at number 7.
They were better down the stretch. I mean,
to be honest, this goes back to, again, I don't think the Panthers are the 7th best team in the NFC. I think that the NFC North is absolutely brutal, and I don't see a team like going 5-1 in that division outside of potentially Detroit. And so those other teams, I think, are all going to lose at least probably 3 games in the division alone. So Panthers have an easy schedule as well. And you look at the back half of last year, Bryce Young played well. They took the Chiefs to the final drive. They took the Bucs to overtime. They took the Eagles down to the final drive. I just think it's a team that's getting better. And why not show love to a very, very loyal listener of this show? Keep pounding.
Yeah, I like it. I have the Panthers over for sure on this, but I don't have them on my wild card. I've got the Lions, the Rams, and the Commanders. That is a horribly – it's one of the reasons why I'm like, I'm going to take Jacksonville, because I'm like, that's horribly boring, all chalk. I don't have anything to mix it up here. So, but I do think the Lions, I think Dan Campbell is clearly good. They've got all the right pieces. We'll see what the coordinators do. If Stafford's healthy, I think they make the playoffs. And I think the Commanders regress back, but kind of like the Texans. 10-7, 11-6, not as impressive, but I'm not going to be on Dallas. I'm not quite ready to go to Carolina. I do like that pick. I think it's a cool pick to kind of surprise, but I'll stick with the chalk. All right, let's give our let's take a break. We'll take a break real quick here and let you hear from our friends at Northland Injury Law. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222, or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. With free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty, Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. All right, let's talk about what we've got as far as conference champions. Who wins the AFC, Jeff?
Bills. This is their time. There's no better time as long as the James Cook drama doesn't outdo them or overcome them. I like what they're working with. The schedule is great for them. They've got the residue of last year's championship loss and other disappointments. I think it lines up great for them.
Okay, Sam.
Yeah, I've got the Bills. I think when you compare them to the Chiefs, they get the Chiefs at home. All signs point to the Bills as the favorite for the number 1 seed. And I know the Chiefs have won in Buffalo before. They can win there again, but that doesn't mean that I think they'd be the favorite if they played in Buffalo again. I think the Bills would be favored in that game, and I'm picking the Bills.
I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, you will. Yeah.
Of course I will. Of course I will. Why wouldn't I? I mean,
it's not an unreasonable pick.
They've been the conference champion 3 straight years.
It's not an unreasonable pick, right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, I often have been the guy. Like, I think I have Baltimore on this last year. I can't remember.
You and I had the Chiefs.
We had the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I try to be like, okay, where's he going to be? But I do think the Chiefs are going to be worse record wise, but a better team. And Buffalo hadn't been able to get by him before now. Why would I take Buffalo to get by him?
Who's the favorite right now?
The Bills.
They are. The Bills are favored, yeah. But so
That's right. I always love how the betting line matters when it favors who you want.
That's right.
The Ravens.
This doesn't really matter.
On some sites, the Ravens are slightly ahead of the Bills, but the Bills are ahead.
All right, NFC, Jeff.
Eagles.
Okay.
They get back, but they don't complete the repeat.
Okay, Sam.
Yeah, I wanted to take another one, the kind of shot in the dark here, but I've got Tampa, a team that when we did the supporting cast stuff, I pointed out I think Tampa has the best. I think their offensive line's terrific. The receivers are great. Bucky Irving might be among the most underrated running backs, I think, in the game. And I think their defense is better. So I'm going to take a shot here and pick Tampa. You and I, Strainer, are on the same page with, I don't think Philadelphia's as good, and I don't think Detroit's as good. So I was sort of looking for somebody else here.
There's about 5 other teams in between that group that you could throw in there. You went right to the bottom and climbed up over the Vikings and the Rams and everyone else, the Niners.
I mean,
they were ahead of the Niners last year and the Vikings, right?
Who?
The Bucks?
Buccaneers? No.
Well, they had a better seed than both of those teams.
No, Vikings won 14 games.
Yeah, but
I was just going to say they had a better seed than both of those teams last year
because they were a division winner and on the Vikings.
The Vikings did lose their quarterback, didn't they?
Yeah. But it's a Michigan man who's running the operation, so Jeff's all on board.
That's right.
Michigan didn't even like the man.
Yeah.
I have the Green Bay Packers. I don't love it, but I'm just trying to find something different. I do like Love. I like the quarterback. I like the coach. I think at some point it's going to click there, but I don't love it. So I'm not going to give you 20 minutes on why the Packers are going to do it because I'm not even that convinced it's going to happen. But I think it's going to be somebody other than the Eagles. That's what I feel the most confident about. This is the year I should probably take the Lions. They'll probably have one of those years where they go 11-6 and then they get hot at the right time and they progress through and they get there. That's what I probably should have done. Super Bowl champ, Jeff?
Bills. I'm going all the way with them. Josh Allen, MVP 1 year, championship the next.
Okay.
So it feels like it's his time.
I've got the Bills as well. Yeah.
I've got the Chiefs. I'll stun you.
Yeah.
I'll take the Chiefs to bounce back and get it done. Patrick,
it sounds like a Stephen St. John podcast now.
I know. I know. I actually do like them. I think they're going to be really good. But
they're always really good.
Yeah, this is not you don't have to defend this pick.
Yeah.
They've made 3 straight Super Bowls. It's a totally reasonable pick.
All right, your MVP, Jeff. Where are you going there?
Lamar Jackson. I wanted to pick Joe Burrow, but if he doesn't win the division, it doesn't line up for him to be the MVP. And I feel like a lot of people wanted to give Lamar Jackson the trophy last year. And he had a phenomenal season, and sometimes that carries over. So if he comes close to doing that again, I think he's going to get it.
Okay. Sam? Josh Allen?
No, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. And it was tempting to sort of like line it up to, in the old school fantasy draft, picking the quarterback and receiver for the same team and try and run up the score on those certain weeks. But I think Mahomes has looked terrific in camp. I think he's looked like he's made some adjustments that I think he's needed to make. And the Chiefs made the adjustments around him that they needed to make. And if Josh Simmons holds up, like there's no excuse for Patrick Mahomes not putting up good numbers this year, and I think Josh Simmons will hold up.
I think the way he doesn't get there is if Josh Simmons doesn't hold up, but also there's X number of games without Rashee Rice for sure.
Yeah.
There's a brittle Hollywood Brown, a brittle Juju Smith-Schuster. Like do the receivers start dropping around? That could be the problem. But I too have Patrick Mahomes for the MVP. I think
Soren, are we doing like Red, Bold, and Gold Chiefs?
It is
versus right now.
Yeah,
this is the NFL podcast.
Yeah, but I think they're going to have a big year, and it goes through Patrick Mahomes. I think he's motivated. I think all the crap talk about Josh Allen and Josh Allen's his equal, and maybe he's not number one anymore. I think that motivated him to do a deep dive into how he gets better, and I think he will be better.
Supporting cast is everything.
Worst team, number one overall pick.
Saints.
Okay.
Saints. Their quarterback situation is a mess, and they got a lot of aging defensive players, and I was down there. It looks pretty bleak. And if they're number one pick, well, I guess he's not coming out now, but it could have been Arch Manning. So
yeah. Well, he's not coming out now because his uncle says he's not coming out.
His grandfather,
or is it his grandfather? Yeah, his grandfather. Yeah, his grandfather says he's not coming out. Settle down. Like I'll believe it when he's the projected number one pick. He'll be out.
Yeah, he said his son wasn't going to the Chargers either. That worked out.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. The New Orleans Saints are so intriguing that Tyrann Mathieu went through the practice and went, "I'm not doing this." So that's a good one. Sam, where do you go?
I think the Saints are the worst team, but the Browns have the second hardest schedule in the league, and they're terrible. So I'm going with the Browns as the number one pick.
I'm glad to hear that because those are the two teams I was deciding between, and I went Saints. I think the Saints hit up with that salary cap finally implodes, and
I think the Saints are worse. But I was stunned to see such a bad team like the Browns have the second hardest schedule in the league, and I started thinking where their wins come from.
Playing the AFC North twice each is a big start to it. That hurts. Okay, let's go to our offensive player of the year. Jeff?
Jamar Chase. I think he'll have a huge season because they're going to be throwing the football like crazy. The defense sucks. I picked Chase largely because I was going to pick Joe Burrow for MVP, and I didn't want to have both players there. It didn't make sense. It would work out that way, so I felt better about Chase getting the OPOY than Burrow getting MVP.
Sam?
Yeah, Jeff's reading my notes here. I got Jamar Chase for the same reason. Like, I think you have to factor in why these guys put up big numbers. The Bengals defense still stinks, and so they're going to be passing like crazy. And Chase comes into this year without the contract stuff that keeps him out of camp and everything. Like he's been there, and I think Chase is also the most talented receiver in the game, and he's got a good quarterback throwing to him that they'll be throwing the ball like crazy. So I think Chase is actually this wasn't that difficult of a pick for me.
Okay. I actually felt like these awards, the 4 awards were pretty easy. Like I thought, I was like, I know right where I'm going on these, and I went Jamar Chase as well. I think he's gonna.
That's crazy. We all pick. I don't know if we've ever done that where we've all picked this. I mean, on a player award.
I don't think so. I don't know. I'll go back and look. I'll have to go back and look. All right, defensive player of the year, Jeff.
I went off a little off the radar. Nick Bonito, the Broncos, who was in the conversation last year. I think he was I know he had double-digit sacks, but he is, I think, in line for a big year on a great defense. I think the same reason Patrick Surtain got it last year gives him a chance to get it. I think the Broncos defense will get a ton of hype, and he'll be in a position to get a lot of sacks. And really, the other guys who would you go with have already either won it or just kind of getting old, like the T.J. Watts and the Myles Garretts and the Trey Henderson. Who knows?
Doesn't apply to my guy.
Doesn't apply to my guy either.
Okay,
I think we got the same guy.
Stern and I much have the same guy.
Okay. Well, I think I know you've already teased it, so I already know who it is. But
yeah,
I'm going with Nick Bonito.
Through 5 weeks last year, Aiden Hutchinson had 40 pressures. No one else had more than 22 from the edge. He was just far and away the best defensive player in football last year through 5 weeks before he got hurt. So I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, I've got Aiden Hutchinson as well. I think the he actually benefits, you don't like to see a guy get hurt, but doesn't have the wear and tear, fresh body, ready to go. The guy puts everything into it. Yeah, I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to be an absolute beast. I've got Aiden Hutchinson as well. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jeff.
Oh, this is easy. Ashton Genty is going to run away with this.
Okay, did anybody consider who did you consider?
Yeah.
I have Ashton Genty too.
Oh, Ted McMillan. It's one.
McMillan's a good
and
one.
also, Cam Ward, the quarterback, is always going to get some love if he does anything. But Jackson Dart was somebody I thought could be a dark horse if he ends up playing a lot of games for the Giants. But Genty's going to get 500 carries.
I thought there were two choices. Ashton Genty's who I went with.
Yeah, I went with Genty as well. I thought there were two choices as well.
Who did you think the other one was?
Who's the other one?
Omari and Hampton, I thought.
Yeah, that's okay.
the other
That's
one.
where I was.
Just because I think the Chargers are going to run the ball like crazy. Najee Harris had this incident over. I think maybe he's going to return to practice before the season starts, but I just think they're going to run the ball like crazy. So that was the only other one that was tempting to me. But you look at that argument. Well, Pete Carroll's going to run the ball too, and he's got a better running back. So you pick the better running back.
And the worst team.
I feel like Omari and Hampton could do a lot more in the passing game. Like I do worry that Genty's they're just going to pound and pound and pound and pound and pound, and where Marion Hampton could be Edgerrin James to Ashton Genty's Ricky Williams, and be the darling. So I did think a lot about Marion Hampton, but I ultimately he's just going to run.
It's been a long time since a running back won this award. By the way, it was Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud, 2 quarterbacks, Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, 2 receivers, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, two quarterbacks. It's
Saquon, the last guy to win it?
Yep, Saquon Barkley was the one before to win
it. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jeff.
Abdul Carter. I mean, he's going to – with that group that he has, rushing the passer, and, the offense has got to get things figured out. Being in New York, he's already getting hyped up. I was tempted to go with Travis Hunter here if he actually played corner the whole time, but he's not going to do that. So I'm going to go with the easy pick here. The guy gets all the sacks.
Yeah. Sam?
Yeah, I've got Abdul Carter. My only hesitancy on this one was the fact that is the other team against the Giants just going to be running the ball the whole second half with protecting leads? Is he going to get that many opportunities to pass rush? But I still went with him.
Yeah, I have Abdul Carter as well. I loved him at Penn State. I thought he was great coming down the stretch playing one-armed. I think the kid's nails, and there is a good mix around him to help him win that award. So I've got Abdul Carter as well. All right, your surprise, Jeff. Who's your surprise? Could be a player, could be a team.
Oh, I'm sticking with players here. Going back to the well with J.J. McCarthy. He's going to do what Sam Darnold did, maybe even better. Put up huge numbers and get the Vikings back into the playoffs. I like him a lot. I know that they were high on him last year before he got hurt. He's got a great supporting cast. Kevin O'Connell's a great quarterbacks. I just think for him to fail would be hard to believe, but I think they've done great things with less talent, and he's got a lot of talent to work with. So I think he's going to have a huge year. Okay.
Sam?
This was really tough for me, to be honest. This was the toughest one. It was tough to find somebody. I didn't want to double up and say, okay, well, the Panthers are my surprise. I've already put them on there. So I went with the player. And I went with Rome Odunze, who had a pretty disappointing. You went with him too?
Yes.
Did you really?
Well,
the Bears.
Well, you take over the argument here because I wasn't confident in it. So you go.
Well, I did the same thing you did. I had Jacksonville Jaguars / Rome Odunze, and I'm like, well, I've already kind of done the Jaguars, so I'm going to go with the player. I think he's a talented player, and I think they're going to be a lot better on offense. And I think second year for receivers, as a rule of thumb, is often a big jump year. So I'm not enamored with everything that's going on in Chicago. I think they're making good decisions and they're moving in the right direction. But I do still wonder about Caleb Williams. But the ball is going to go in the air, and I think Odunze is a talented player. I really liked him at Washington, so I just think it makes sense. He's kind of off the radar screen after being hurt last year. So, I like it. But, yeah, I'm not enamored with it. So, all right.
Just bold picks and then trying to tell you how much you don't like them.
Yeah.
It's bizarre that we both picked the same one of that because that was my hardest pick. I struggled to find somebody for that.
Yeah. All right. Disappointment, Jeff.
The inverse of J.J. McCarthy is Sam Darnold. who is no longer in Minnesota and is
He's
going
got
to
Sam Darnold as
experience.
well.
Yeah, I got Sam Darnold.
Yeah. I mean, now he's probably not going to be as big of a disappointment because they didn't, 3-year deal and all this stuff. But they're not putting the same cast around him. And I mean, when you're talking about Marquez Valdez-Scantling have a chance to make your team, that's not really encouraging. So old Cooper Kupp. I mean, it's offensive line still got some questions. I just think it's going to be a rough year for him in Seattle.
Yeah, I've got Darnold as well. I think he was completely exposed in the playoffs, and he does not keep his eyes down the field when the rush comes. I think he's going to get blitzed, and I think he's going to back up the bus. Seattle he doesn't have the same head coach, doesn't have the same offensive coordinator, and that was a big part of the success. I think that one's that was my easiest one to find. Was that one? I'm on Darnold as well. Do you have if you have Darnold, we have all the same.
I don't, and to be honest, if it for some reason it just didn't enter my mind. If it had, I think I would have picked Darnold. But I'm going to go with another guy who I just think is overhyped, which is Bo Nix.
Okay.
I'm not as big of a believer as you guys, and just you guys are on the consensus on this. Like a lot of people are really high on Bo Nix. I think his skill position players are terrible. Like I don't like. Cortland Sutton and Mims being a 1-2 is a bad start. And then Evan Ingram has been touted as a savior for every team he's ever been on, and he's never been a savior for any team he's ever been on. The Broncos will still win games. I still have them in the playoffs because I think they have the number one defense in the NFL. But I just thought Bo Nix got the luxury of being graded on a rookie curve last year as a 25-year-old that he won't have this year. There was one interesting stat I found while looking into Bo Nix to make sure this wasn't just a really stupid pick. And on intermediate throws last year, which is 10 to 19 yards, PFF grades just what you are on those throws. His grade was 54.5 on those throws. The second worst in football was 68. Like that's a really big gap on those throws. And he also had the most turnover-worthy plays on those throws, the highest percentage of that. I think a part of that is trying to find something that's wrong with Bo Nix, but bigger. He didn't wow me last year. And I think a lot of people just set a really low bar for him because they thought he got drafted too early. He was a rookie. And all of a sudden he didn't have the grading curve that like Caleb Williams did and Drake May. And I think now he won't have that luxury. And I don't think he'll live up to what the expectations are for him.
I think there's a regression. For sure. I don't think that's a bad pick at all. I mean, I'll give you that. All right. Bold and daring predictions. Here we go. We've never been wrong on these. So what do we got, Jeff? Your bold and daring predictions. Where do you start?
Oh, let me get it up here. I've got number one is Daniel Jones will win the comeback player of the year.
Oh. Wow.
That's pretty bold and daring.
Oh, yeah. We're not saying that's not bold and daring.
That is bold and
that's bold and daring.
He's gonna get that job. I think he's already got the job, to be honest with you. I think Anthony Richardson's playing himself out of it.
In fact, if he finishes top two for sure, I'd probably even say top three. I will give you credit for that.
Yeah.
Because I think Aiden Hutchinson, that award is in the bag for Aiden Hutchinson.
Okay.
Rashee Rice has a chance.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
They're not picking a guy who's suspended 6 games for.
They might.
All right. What's tops on your list, Sam?
So I copied and pasted last year's, except for I changed one number, which is, let me get the exact wording of last year's. Mike Tomlin's 19th season in Pittsburgh is his first losing one, and the Steelers will lose 10 plus games. To make it bold, I had to add the 10 plus. By the way, their over under is to have a winning season, which kind of surprises me. But like I said, I want to add on to make sure it's bolder. So I've got 10 plus losses.
Okay. I will go with Saquon Barkley fails to reach 1,000 yards rushing. He had 2,000 last year. There's just, you can't take that kind of wear and tear and keep going. And it's all part of the Eagles unraveling. He will get hurt. He will get banged up, and he will not get to 1,000 yards rushing this year.
Soren's got a deep conspiracy theory going with the Eagles. They got a multifaceted plan for them falling apart.
I am going to get Nick Sirianni out of there one way or another.
Sirianni, Jalen Hurts going down.
Well, I tried last year. That didn't work.
Yeah. Jeff, number 2.
I've got Ashton Genty becoming the first rookie to rush for 2,000 yards.
Ooh,
Never
I
happened
like
in
that.
NFL history.
I like that. Okay.
I'll
Okay.
go with that
That's
one.
a good one. That's a good one. All right. Sam?
I've got that Bucky Irving will lead the league in total yards this year. He led the league last year in yards after contact per attempt, and he was also one of the best receiving backs in the league. So I've got Bucky Irving leading the league in total yards.
Bucky Irving. I like it. All right. I'll use this one here. In honor of Jeff's 2,000 yards for Ashton Genty, Jamar Chase becomes the first wide receiver with 2,000 receiving yards.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll take Jamar Chase to get that done. Jeff, back to you.
This one kind of flies in the face of my Jamar Chase for Offensive Player of the Year, but CeeDee Lamb will break the single-season record for receptions. And he had 135, I think, 2 years ago, when the second best receiver on his team was Brandon Cooks.
It's still like, what is it, 144 from Marvin Harrison?
I think 149, Michael Thomas.
Oh, Michael Thomas, okay.
So he came within 14 with a weaker second receiver next to him and Dak Prescott playing a full year. So Dak Prescott comes back. They get Pickens on the other side. He gets a bunch of balls.
Okay. Sam?
Yeah, this was kind of hard to define because I wanted to put an exact number on it, but I'm going to say this time next year, 2 NFL coaches are right now NCAA head coaches, and that neither one of them is going to be Bill Belichick. I think the NFL is going to get back into dipping into NCAA head coaches. I think there's a couple guys, 3 or 4 guys that I think they'll target. So just to make it bold and daring, I'm going to say it happens twice.
Wow.
2 NCAA head coaches right
Who
now.
are the 2?
Are head coaches.
Yeah.
I actually think there's quite a few right now when you look at potential head coaching candidates and in NCAA. I mean, I think Steve Sarkisian is one. I have some weird thing, though. There's a couple words I can't say. That's always been one of them. I think he's definitely a head coaching candidate, but that's why I didn't want to just say him. I think maybe you've got a couple guys that could be head coaches, but I just don't think Bill Belichick will be one.
A few days ago, I asked Sean Jayaraja at CBS who he thought, and he mentioned Ryan Day and that Lincoln Riley could be tired of the.
Lincoln Riley would make sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to say like Riley, but he might be tired of USC, but it's like the NFL not exhausted with that. Yeah.
He may have let his opportunity go by. Yeah. All right. So now my third. Okay. I put down some extra ones here. I'll see where I'm gonna go with Aiden Hutchinson getting 20 sacks.
You guys are high on him, huh?
Yeah. Go all in. I mean, I don't love that I've mentioned Aiden Hutchinson all these different times, but I do think he's gonna have a big year, and I think he's gonna be dominant.
You've mentioned him almost as much as you've mentioned the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's kind of an Aiden Hutchinson Chiefs dynamic I got going here. Yeah.
Why not add some more? What other ones did you consider?
Some of them I took them off because they're not as good. Like the Texans, I have that the Texans will not win the AFC South. Right, I obviously picked Jacksonville, but if it's not Jacksonville, I'm adamant that they're not going to win the AFC South. And then Micah Parsons being the highest paid defensive player in history. Those are a couple others that I was kicking around.
Yeah,
they're not as good.
I like that.
Travis Hunter's only will catch less than 35 passes.
Oh, I like that.
That was mine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like that. What else do you have, Sam?
Well, I might steal that one. I had the Panthers, making the playoffs as one, but obviously that was already accounted for in there. I had the Bears being a top 10 offense potentially, which, by the way, has not happened since 2013. They actually haven't finished top half of the league since 2013. But I don't know. I guess I still have some skepticism about exactly whether or not that's going to happen, and not picking them to the playoffs. I thought that was a little bit backwards. And the other one I considered, but to be honest, I wonder if this is even bold or daring enough, is that former Chiefs executive Chris Ballard's 9th season will be his last one in Indianapolis. I don't even know if that's bold or daring, is it?
They're just logical.
I it's logical. It would be bold and daring if the owner had not passed, because I know he was in with
Right. Yeah.
But now with, we'll see what happens with a fresh set of eyes looking at him. I think it might be put up or shut up time. Yeah. I think that's an interesting one for sure. All right, there it is. Our predictions for the entire NFL season. You don't need to watch anymore. I know Jeff's bosses don't want to hear that, but we just gave you everything that's going to happen. There it is. Lock it down. We do always come back after the season and review these. So you can look for it. You can go back and look. We reviewed the 24 ones.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
My guy.
We are the there was
That was one, honestly, that I should have picked. Robert Saleh will be the assistant coach of the year.
Yeah.
We can add assistant coach of the year.
I copied and pasted one of mine. I should have copied and pasted one of yours and just added the word assistant.
Then I'll go to add to my Chiefs team. Josh Simmons will be the protector of the year in the NFL. They now have that award for the best offensive lineman. So, listen, if you want the very best when it comes to your parking lot, it's GAN Asphalt and Concrete. Whether it's building a new lot, paving the one you got, striping it, one contractor, all things parking lot, that's GAN Asphalt and Concrete. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warranty. You can find them online by going to GANasphalt.com. That's GANasphalt.com. And our friends at Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers. Serving KC for more than 40 years, voted the #1 accident lawyers in Kansas City. If you've been hurt in an accident, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT, H-U-R-T, to 22222, 52s. Is what that is, or call 816-400-HURT. I'm nailing these numbers right here. 816-400-HURT, whether it's a work accident, fall, car accident, Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers have you covered. For Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Sam McDowell from the Kansas City Star, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here